Let's talk about testing. If you sell your own electronics, it's a good idea to test them before you ship them off. And I make circuit boards for keyboards. Keyboards have a lot of switches on them, and it's a lot of things to test, and it requires a lot of repetition and precision, and those are things 3D printers are really good at. So I want to show you, for this particular circuit board, how I use a 3D printer to test it.
So to get everything aligned, I have these four little corner pegs here, and that I printed on tape because their whole purpose is not to come off the build plate. And the surface is really nice for making things come off. So the tape locks it in place. And then the next step of this process is that I have this red plate here. On top of it, I have these little white stickers just so the LEDs can reflect. This thing I used for soldering at one point. I no longer use it, so I found a good repurposing here. Then of course the PCB will nicely just align into these holes on this plate, and that keeps it roughly in place. And I have some tape that I'll put on the edges just to keep it secured. And then the final step of this puzzle is the microcontroller. So here I just took one of the wireless lemons that I use. The nice thing about it being wireless is that I can strap a battery to the back, and that means that I don't need to have any cables here. So I can just let that sit on the back here, and this is going to be really difficult to do with one hand, but I can somewhat, oh my god, my poor camera. I can get it plugged in and then turn power on, and then you'll see the little program I've written just makes all the LEDs white. And at this point, I'm not going to do it, but the little plugger thingy on the 3D printer, I took just one of my plum twist PCBs, and that made a really good soldering surface. And I attached 2 pogo pins on the bottom there that you can kind of see. And those 2 pogo pins are wired together, so whenever you press it against the 2 edges of the hot swap socket, that effectively means it simulates a switch press. And you do this on every single switch, and you can test a keyboard that way. And then for how the rest of this works, so this is just some 3D printed attachments I made. Someone else designed the top mount, which was really great. I didn't have to measure my printer or anything. And then for the G-code, so I'm running Clipper, which has been really, really useful for just running all sorts of crazy custom stuff, because no close-fits 3D printer allows you to tune the limits, write your own G-code. You get a little console to try stuff off, and I'm using the fluid interface, which is just absolutely I can't believe it looks decent and it's pretty easy to use. So for this, what I do is I run, this is kind of the G code that I'm using. G90, G91 are toggling the absolute and incremental modes, and G0 is moving. So literally my entire program is just G0 all over and over, copy paste for 49 keys, and that's basically how you get it to move. So what I can do is the file just shows up as a normal file here, and then I can print it, and all of a sudden you'll see it starts testing. That's basically all it is to it. It's super easy to do it when you have really good control of your printer.